Hello, everyone. So today we're going to be talking about how to view reality according to Kabbalah. What does that mean to view reality? So you have a headline, you have some news events, and you want to know what is the spiritual, the godly, the holy way to respond to that headline. So what often happens is you have something that happens and you have two opposite extremes. It's two opposite ways of responding to that event. For instance, on December 19th, 3I Atlas, this comet, is going to pass by Earth in its closest coordinate, closest to Earth. Still millions of miles away, but December 19th is the day that many people have been waiting for, so we can get our closest images and view of this comet. So this is something that you can observe. You have a telescope. If you have a very good telescope, even on Earth, you could observe this comet. Especially maybe if you're using if you have Hubble or something else, you can even have a better view of this comet. And you can have the best picture, the best view of this thing, but still respond in completely different ways. You can be a physicist and know a lot of stuff, a lot of scientific things. You can know the equations and all the rules that intergalactic objects, space anomalies. You can know all the science behind all these objects, and still come to completely two different complete conclusions. So what are the two conclusions, the two opposite conclusions with Riai Alice? Is the one is that this is a comet that, it has now 14 anomalies and counting, 14 things that are very strange and very weird and very new. But maybe this is just science that we are just exploring for the first time. We're encountering for the first time. So we have to update our equations. We have to update our understanding of physics and of science. So even though this 3I Alice has a lot of anomalies, a lot of strange things, still this is within the realm of science. It's still a comet. It's still something that's natural. But what is the opposite extreme? Is that maybe this is from some type of alien civilization. Maybe this is a probe or a spaceship of some sort. Maybe has technological origins. So what's more interesting than actually what 3I Alice is, whether it has a natural origin or technological origin, what's actually more interesting is the way that we are approaching the news story. You may say, but I want to know which it is. I'm telling you, even if you have the clearest image that this is a spaceship, people will say it's AI. And so to the opposite, if you have the clearest image showing that this is natural and man-made, something that's natural, not man-made, something that's natural, people will say, well, NASA is just covering it up, covering up the fact that this is of alien origin, of technological origin. And why is that? So we hope to explain why this is. And this actually has to do with our soul roots. And each of us comes from a different place, from a different perspective in life. And that has everything to do with how we view reality. So before the news of this comet of 3I Alice, So we had another news story that came out. This was the news story of Copernicus. Very famous thing that it used to be common that the geocentric perspective of reality used to be very prevalent. What's geocentric? Well, you have our solar system, and you say that, well, Earth is at the center, and everything, including the sun, revolves around the Earth. All the other planets, including the sun, revolve around the Earth of our solar system. But since Copernicus, you have something that's called heliocentric. What's heliocentric? Is that the Earth and the other planets, Mars, Jupiter, so forth, revolve around the sun. So that's typically what you hear today, right? Is that the Earth revolves around the sun, the heliocentric view of reality. But it's not so simple. Why is it not so simple? Because you have something called relativity from Einstein, theory of relativity. And I'm going to read you, this is from a book called Mind Over Matter. It's the Lubavitcher Rebbe on science, technology, and medicine. So this is from a letter from the Lubavitcher Rebbe, written on the 18th of the Hebrew month of Tevis, which is the month after Hanukkah, which we're now in the third day of Hanukkah. The 19th of December, when Three-Eye Alice is expected to come closest to Earth, is the fifth day of Hanukkah. We talked about that in previous videos. But so this letter is from the next Hebrew month, from the month of Tevis, from the 18th of the month of Tevis, from 5720. We're now in the year 5786. So this is close to 66 years ago. Greetings and blessings. I received your letter on January 10th, in which you ask my explanation of the reference of the four basic elements mentioned in chapter 1 of the Tanya. So there's a lot. This is the. Sorry, I apologize. I was looking at the next letter. The four basic elements. While we're talking about the four basic elements, so you have fire and water, and you have air and earth. So, in terms of perspective, in terms of your soul root, this is a homework assignment. Since we started reading this letter, dealing with the four elements, the homework assignment is which elements do you most identify with? Again, it's fire, water, and air and earth. And psychologically, this each one, and spiritually, each one relates to something else. So that's the homework assignment. But let's go back to geocentrism and heliocentrism. So this letter is from the 23rd of Elul, from the Hebrew month of Elul, which is just a few days before Rosh Hashanah of that year, of the Jewish New Year, from 5728. So also, we're still in 5786. that hasn't changed. And this is close to 60 years ago, this letter. Greeting and blessing. I am in receipt of your letter of September 10th, in which you touch upon the question of whether the sun revolves around the earth or vice versa, in view of the fact that you heard from a college student that the truth is that the earth revolves around the sun. Right? So if you go to any class on this topic, they'll tell you, this is from Copernicus on, that the earth revolves around the sun. It greatly surprises me that according to your letter, the student declared that science has resolved that the earth revolves around the sun. The surprising thing is that a person making such a declaration would be about 1/2 a century behind the times insofar as the position of modern science is concerned. This belief is completely refuted by the theory of relativity, which has been accepted by all scientists as the basis for all branches of science. One of the basic elements of this theory is that when two bodies in space are in motion relative to one another, actually the theory was initiated on the basis of the movement of stars, planets, the Earth, etc. So it even drills the point even more. Science declares with absolute certainty that from the scientific point of view, both possibilities are equally valid, namely that the Earth revolves around the sun, or the sun revolves around the Earth. An essential point in the above conclusion is that it is not based on a lack of more definitive knowledge, but this is the inevitable conclusion based upon the present position of science, namely that in principle it is impossible that there would ever be scientifically proven which of the two, the sun or the earth, revolves around the other. So then the question is, why do we prefer one over the other? That either the earth revolves around the sun or the sun revolves around the earth? If according to relativity, that both are either moving around each other, or maybe if I'm standing on the earth that I see the sun is moving, or if somehow or mentally I could imagine myself standing on the sun, I could view it that the earth is moving around me. And how does this affect how we view all of reality? This is the topic of today. So I'm going to tell a story. So first, it should be explained that could be that there's a preference mathematically. Could be that it's easier for the sun to be viewed as the center of the solar system mathematically. But still, we're talking about psychological and spiritual motivations. Like, why am I motivated to have a heliocentric view of reality or to have a geocentric view of reality? When the disciples of the holy Rozhner, Rabbi Yisrael Rozhin, he's a Hasidic Rebbe, a very holy Hasidic Rebbe, heard of this apparently heretical scientific discovery of Copernicus that had turned the world inside out, as it were. They brought the news to their Rebbe, to their teacher, to Rabbi Yisrael of Rozhin, probably anticipating his absolute denial that such a phenomenon could ever be reconciled with the true Torah teachings, and that anyone who believed such a thing was a heretic. So there's Torah teachings that are geocentric, that the Earth is at the center of the solar system. But again, this amazing response that he gives. However, his reaction was very unusual. When he was informed of this, the holy Rozhner remained completely composed, and his response was a very special one. He said that whether the earth revolves around the sun or the sun revolves around the earth depends on the service of the tzaddikim, the righteous Jews of that generation. Something very strange. The righteous souls of that generation. How would that affect how all of reality is the perspective of all of reality? So if we go back to the letter from the Lubavitcher Rebbe, what is the Lubavitcher Rebbe saying? He's also fully acknowledging that science opens it up, that the theory of relativity from Einstein opens it up. And what's the Rebbe really saying? If you really listen to him, what's his response really saying? He's saying that we've now ushered in a new way of viewing reality. It's sometimes called like a quantum reality, a quantum way of viewing reality, where you don't have to decide one way or another. So it's neither, it's both, and it's also one or the other. So it's either the sun or the earth is at the center, or maybe you could also say that both perspectives are also equally valid. It's like, because each one is moving relative to the other, right? Again, movement, what's movement? Movement is relative. If you have one object, how do you, in all of reality, let's say you have one object, then how do you have movement? Maybe you don't have movement. That's why it says God is both unchanging and changing. At his essence, he's unchanging. But he also created a bunch of movers like us. He created constellations and stars and the moon and all these things that seem to move. But God is unchanging. God is the same as he was before he created. He's the same as he is now. Above time and space, above all considerations of that we have, the way that we view reality. But we see reality as movement. So you can say that the ultimate movement is our relationship with God. That's the most important movement. Is how we're moving relative to God. Are we moving towards God or away from God? God forbid. It's a process of returning to God is the most important movement of all of reality. But sometimes, we go back and forth. We have we're complex. Our lives are not simple and direct. We have ups and downs. And so now that can shed light on this the story from the Holy Rozener, this Hasidic Rebbe, Rabbi Yisrael Rozhin, that whether the sun is viewed as the center or the earth is viewed as the center depends on the service of the tzaddikim of that generation. And so in our generation, we have this letter from the Lubavitcher Rebbe. So what is the Lubavitcher Rebbe teaching us for our generation? Is that our generation is a generation of relativity. And the most important thing is to when we have a headline, when we have a news headline, to realize that we are all part of, it's an opportunity to connect us, not to see how different we are, but how connected we all are as humanity, and not to divide us, God forbid. Every news story is like that. You see, you're politically charged, you come from the right, you come from the left. But the furthest right and the furthest left, they meet at the end. They meet together at the circle. We're all on the same spectrum. There's a commonality to all of us. And what unites us is our Torah perspective, which is like we all have learned from the same source. We all have, like, a Kabbalistic perspective is to see the soul of all of reality and to see the commonality of all of reality. So what does this mean practically speaking? So you have a news story of three ayahs, and you have someone like a physicist whose soul root is on the left, we call it. He's very future oriented, exploring new frontiers, always future minded. So what does he say? Maybe this is some future technology being revealed to the present. Okay, I'll explain the flip side, and then we'll explain how both are saying, how both are joining, and really saying two sides of the same exact thing. So, what is someone who is right oriented? They say, no, this is just, we've seen this before. This is just, maybe we just have to update our equations, but this is all based on everything that we've observed before. That's what a right-oriented soul says. Historically, we've seen a lot of comets. We've even seen some other intergalactic objects, and it can all be explained. Okay, maybe I have to update my math or my understanding. But we've seen this before. There's nothing new. There's nothing new under the sun, as Solomon said in Ecclesiastes. There's nothing new, or above the sun, or around the sun. It's all physical reality. That's what Solomon really meant. Everything in the scientific realm, you're just updating your textbook a little bit. But what do the left-oriented souls say? Maybe this is something entirely different from what we've seen. It's coming from the future. It's like something like futuristic, science fiction. And I'm getting a glimpse of it today. So how do we reconcile both of those together? And these are both like physicists. They both know the math. And the conclusions are completely opposite. And they're both seeing the same images, poring over the same data. So what's the lesson here? So there's another story of the Ruzhner, a beautiful story. This is what he recounted. When I was a young child, 4 years old, my holy father, Rabbi Shalom of Brebich, took me on a walk through the fields. And there we saw the sun setting. We talked about this, the sun and the earth, right? So he's seeing the sun setting, a beautiful and grand sight. So is the sun setting or is the earth rising? That's our first question. It's all relative, right? So it was a beautiful and grand sight, watching the sunset. It seemed to me as a young boy that the place on the horizon where the sun was setting was the end of the sky. I told my father, "Look, Abba." Abba is a father in Hebrew. "You can see where the sky ends." My father answered, "No, my child, that beyond the sky that you can see there is another sky, and beyond that another sky, and there are skies without number, one after another. And beyond all the skies there is the great God that created them all." When my father spoke those words, my stomach began to churn, and that churning continues to this very day. So what was his father teaching him? And this was like a formative story for little Rabbi Yisrael of Ruzhin when he was a little boy. So what's the theme song of Star Trek? What's the verse where no one has gone before? That's what they updated it to, where no one has gone before. Final frontier. Well, beyond that final frontier is the next final frontier. You always have more final frontiers. It's like the sun setting. You always, since the earth is round, right? If you keep on traveling through the earth, if you travel fast enough, you can keep on seeing sunset after sunset after sunset, or sunrise after sunrise after sunrise. You're always pushing the envelope. You're always at the edge, the cutting edge. What's the lesson here? So if I imagine myself as the captain of a starship enterprise, right? And you're traveling throughout the galaxy, the galaxies. So you're always exploring new life, new worlds, new civilizations. You're always pushing the envelope, but it's also futuristic. So I'm doing something very much in the present, but I'm also revealing more of the future in the present. And that's what a tzaddik does. A tzaddik, a righteous holy soul, is revealing that future state. It's called the Mashiach, or redemptive state of reality, revealing that state in the present, in the present day reality. So it's very, some of the most holy souls were left-oriented souls, like Rabbi Nachman of Breslov, Rabbi Kiva. These were left-oriented souls, very future-oriented souls. But again, to reveal this future state of reality in the present-day reality. But what does a right-oriented soul say? So that's someone who's saying that maybe it's not a captain of a starship enterprise. Maybe it's a comet. But I'm going to push the envelope of scientific discovery. The here and now. I'm going to move forward, the present, future into the future. I'm going to move the present forward. So both are really saying the same thing. That a tzaddik, now we're going to say, why did the Rabbi Yeshua Ruzhin say it all depends, whether we have a heliocentric, a sun-centered view of the solar system, a sun-centric view, or an earth-centric view, a geocentric view. Why does it depend on the service of the tzaddikim, of the righteous souls of that generation? Now we're going to explain that a tzaddik is someone who's always revealing more of the future into the present. Like the future is like the future of energy is like fusion energy, like a future technology revealed in the present. So like it's taking glimpses and views of that future state of reality and revealing it in the present. But someone who is living in the present, what is someone who is living here on earth, like an earth view of reality. Like so that's like a sun or a spiritual view of reality. But someone who is an earth dweller, that's like us, right? We're here on earth. So how do we view reality? Is that we are pushing the envelope forward of science. And we're always coming up with new theories and new discoveries, and we're pushing that envelope forward. But our experience is here on Earth. So that's like an Earth-centric view of reality. So what does it mean when you have someone like the Lubavitcher Rebbe that says, according to Einstein, you can have both. Just depends on your perspective. So he's trying to seek the greater, to show us that we all are connected. We're all unified. And this is true for any news story. So for Three Ayalis, whether you view it as technological, some type of futuristic science fiction thing, or whether you view it as just, maybe we just have to update our equations. This is just a comet, folks. We've seen this before. Just There's a couple of new things we just have to update. So when you view this, this is coming from your soul root. So what connects us is the story from Rabbi Yeshua of Ruzhin that his father told him when he was a kid, is that beyond all of this is God. Is that God created them all. God created all of us. Beyond all the perspectives, all the views of reality is the one God. The one unmoving, unchanging God. Just God is like a kid views God, just God. Simple, just oneness. So what's the take-home lesson? Is that more connects us than what divides us. And what we need to do is to see the inner soul of reality in order to see that connection, that greater connection between all of us. And that's through learning the Torah, the Bible, especially the inner dimension of the Torah, is taught through the teachings of Kabbalah, through the Hasidic masters. And that we said that the most important movement is to move towards God. It's also very important, and this maybe this even is the first thing that we think about in life, is to think of how to move closer to other people. Because it says that those who love others, of course you love God. Because if you love that which God created, then of course you love God. So we have to find the goodness of all of humanity, and we have to find those things that connect us, to connect all of humanity together. And that's, again, through the inner teachings of the Torah, teachings of Kabbalah. Again, it's seeking the oneness of all of reality, born out through, you can do it through headlines, you can do it through whatever people are talking about. But to know that we are all together in this, we're all as one world under God, together with God. And we're here to reveal the oneness of God throughout all of reality. That's our mission and purpose in life.